With many anti-drug use programs such as Alcoholics Anonymous prohibited, how many people have relapsed into heavy drug use? For those of you listening to this later, I'm recording this late May 2020, so there's a current situation that the world is going through. That's just some context for this. But this is something that I'd seen, and it came to me slowly by slowly. I mean, I have many apprehensions towards what the state does, what they say they're doing, and what their actual intentions are. When it comes to this is a realization that came to me from a few things. I've been seeing this meme talking about Alcoholics Anonymous meeting in 2021, and it's just a stadium of people just sitting there. And I'm like, okay, I was like, okay, what exactly is that about? And then today I was listening to a podcast, the best podcast in the world, No Agenda Show, and they opened up with just talking about how Alcoholics Anonymous, because in Alcoholics Anonymous and there's certain things, and I've talked about this in several of my recent videos about how, for me, I am rather introverted. From traveling around, I've always been able to, I've developed the way to actually communicate with people through the internet and not have to be there physically. Yet I do understand there are some benefits of physically being next to somebody. Now, when you have certain things, certain issues, especially when you're getting into groups for support groups, that one I think is a lot harder to do remotely than it is physically. Because often a lot of the people who they're physically around, a lot of the people who go to some of these support groups for addiction and for other issues, it's not necessarily not having people around them. It's the quality of people around them. It's the sort of connections they can make. They often have a lot of people around them that are actually enabling the issues that they have, the problems that they have, actually getting away from their actual environment, from the people in their groups, to this other place, normally gives them some respite, gives them the access, gives them the ability to actually grow and try and see a different part of life. So if you have something Alcoholics Anonymous, whether you agree with the program or not, whether you think drinking is harmful or not, whether you think alcohol use is, whether you think it's effective. Some people think the 12-step program is more like getting addicted to another kind of religion type of thing. And I have some agreements with some of the things, some of the objections brought up by it. I went to a similar sort of group. It was Under Earners Anonymous, because I really don't make that much money. So I was thinking, let me go to this and see if there's a way for me to look at a different way of why I don't feel driven, or why I'm not completely making as much money as I think I can earn technically with the things I am able to do. And I went to it, and they're talking about the chips and the programs and things, and I looked into the different programs more, and I realized it's pretty much set up on the same Alcoholics Anonymous, who's Under Earners Anonymous. So it's the same system. And from my short experience with it, and then the extended research, I don't necessarily agree with how it's actually done. But for some people, it's clearly helped. It could have gotten them off of something into something else. But often that alcoholism or that drug addiction that they were fighting, that they're combating, was a lot worse than this other thing that they might be finding to be an addiction or to be a habit forming. It's more about, I think, something habit forming yourself. I myself don't drink, don't smoke, don't do any drugs. And it's something that it took me a process just looking and researching and thinking, just I don't want to do this stuff. And just from research and self-knowledge and things like this, I found reasons to just stop doing it. And I had done things on and off, and I'll talk about that somewhere else. But for some people, they need this support system. Or at least they've gotten to a point in their life where they recognize this is something harmful, and I want to actually address it, and these are the options. Now, a friend of mine accurately pointed out that there's other options, there's other ways to get away from this. But often the state comes in and advertises and corners a certain market and says, we're the ones who are going to handle this. And when they say we're going to handle this, other people don't come in. There's the private options of it, other people don't find a way. And you can actually profit from helping people. This whole idea that you have to be using people in order to actually profit from them is nonsensical. You can actually profit from making people's lives better. You can profit from getting people to stop drinking, to stop abusing drugs. So that system isn't there. These people rely on it. So I posted this, just thinking about this, because as I said in the No Agenda show, they talked about how those were closed. Oh, you can't actually congregate in a group because that's dangerous, but liquor stores, they're essential. Some places, marijuana actual dispensaries, they're essential, but you can't be out on the beach. You can't be walking in the woods. For some people, walking in the woods, walking in the beach could be how they were getting away from some drug use or just trying to get out to nature and just trying to mean some thoughts. You can't do these things. And then you add the added stress of people losing their jobs. You're being told there's this panic, the economy is crashing, all these things. And these things are going to lead people, give people triggers to actually go back into it. And unfortunately, I posted this, or maybe fortunately, because I mean, part of the reason I'm posting this is to try and engage with people. I posted it, and somebody reached out. Somebody who's a friend of mine from back in school reached out and said, "Yeah, they're actually an example of they had entered a program and then they slipped out because it just started getting cut back. They were like, this is not something we can fund anymore. It's not essential. Or this kind of and that's just unfortunate. And to me, just shows that the state, when they talk about interest in public health, they don't have an interest in public health. They have an interest in getting votes. So whatever is manageable, if something is just like, oh, we can get enough votes from doing this program but not actually going through it, the amount of people that will fall through the lines, it doesn't matter, it doesn't calculate. And I'm wondering, is this worse if this is an intentional thing? Like they really just don't care about the people who are actually going to relapse? Or is it a situation where nobody actually thought of this? Because I saw that meme, then I heard this, but I mean, that's such a practical thing. How can you not think that if you have a situation like this, people are going to backslide into drug abuse? Do they just not care? Is no one in the system that could have actually thought and said, maybe we should keep those funded? Or maybe if we don't allow this, we should close liquor stores as well. We shouldn't allow people to have access to these certain things. But why not better? Why not just step out of this? Stop making things illegal. Because when they say something is illegal and something is legal, it's not due to the safety of it. Like this, alcohol already kills so many people. I have a separate one of that. But it's just something that is really frustrating to see this fail, because this is a direct fail, and I just put it out there and got a direct experience of somebody coming to me and telling me about it, and just my thoughts go out to these people, and I hope, like my friend said, there's other ways to actually deal with this. There's ways to do this where you don't have to rely on the state, because I think relying on the state is just asking for trouble. Because when you need them the most, chances are 50-50 or less than 50. It's a coin flip whether they'll be there for you. They don't have your best interests in mind. They're not the ones who can decide who is essential or not, what is essential for your life. Try to find other options for it. Look out there. We have access to more information than we ever have. And with the internet and with other things, just put out the demand. And I think enough people will be out there and they'll be able to find ways. There's other ways to actually do this. I think with some of these drug addictions and these different addictions, I've had food addiction and other things. And it's something in you that I think is trying to be addressed by this actual abuse of this substance. Now, there's ways to address these in many different ways. So if you are somebody that has been let down by whatever system you're relying on, my thoughts go to you, but try to see if there's other modes out there that can help you bridge the gap. I understand some of these programs are coming back as things reopen, but if they come back and you're finding some kind of aid by it, I think yes, use those tools, use all the tools available, but try to find tools, try to find sources that are as secure as possible that don't rely on the state, because the state doesn't have your best interest in mind. That's it for now. It's part of my shorty series where I expand on short thoughts. There should be links below to our merchandise store if you want to help me out. If you have any thoughts on this, if you've gotten over some kind of addiction in different ways and you found some to be more effective and others not, let me know in the comment section. This would be a good conversation topic. I think there might be other people who come in and see, oh, you struggled with this and you found a good way in this, and oh, I can try that as well. Or you might have some suggestions, or if you don't know any, just ask some questions, and then maybe it'll just add to the information sphere of many different ways of trying to help people get over harmful things in their life. So that's it for now. Till next time, goodbye.